How can businesses build resilience against evolving operational and security risks? Welcome to Gurugyaan with BSmart. In this episode, you'll hear from Sabyasachi Sengupta, Vice President, Asia Gunnebo Safe Storage. Mr. Sengupta is a seasoned management professional and a corporate leader with over 3.5 decades of experience across multiple industries like pharma, engineering, IT, and security. He had been associated with a variety of critical and impact roles in finance, administration, and governments with the likes of ABB, ICICI Pens, Novartis, and more. A CA from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, he has also attended several executive training programs on leadership and management.
Hi, sir. A very warm welcome to this new session of Gurugyaan, where we invite industry experts to discuss around a few topics across different sectors. We are very thankful to you for taking out time and participating in this session.
Thank you for having me, and it's a privilege to be getting into this conversation with you. Look forward.
Our pleasure, sir. The topic of discussion of today is how businesses can build resilience against evolving operational and security risks. There are different questions on it. The first one that we address will be why modern businesses need a new security approach. Over to you.
Well, you see, like security is all about an external threat to one's existence or one's survival or one's protection. And it is a direct function about how the external one is evolving. And that makes it very important that it every organization has to there was a drag there. So every organization has to keep abreast with with the changes that are happening. And always it has to be remembered that with change in technology, it cuts both ways. We can enhance our security as well as the ones who threaten it also have access to the same cutting edge technology to penetrate any walls that are built between that. So it is a cat and mouse game, kind of, that you keep constantly changing, and the safety bar keeps on going up and up. So like for today, like we have this the digital threat. It is not necessarily the traditional one. If you go back, security is actually there since civilization started. And I've been there in a museum which actually talks about physical security since we started locking our doors. So I mean, from there we have come this far that our door locks can actually be opened even remotely. So it's that's how fast things are changing, and so that is where we come in. That how do we augment physical security with the technologies that are available? How do we keep a trail of it? How do we make it easier for installation of this? Because ultimately it is always a cost and benefit issue. Like how much do we spend in order to cover the risk? Does it match the requirement? So it is a evolving area always, and I don't think we will ever reach a stage of saturation in this industry on physical security and associated security, where we will say now this is enough and this is the farthest we can go.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, sir. Just coming on to the next segment, which is how technology is transforming physical security infrastructure. If you can please throw some lights on this.
Well, as I said, when it comes to, if I restrict myself to the domain that we play in, we are a safe storage player. So, which means that we protect valuables, we also protect indirectly uh, individuals in an indirect way. So, when we say protecting valuables, it is of two kinds. Something that has got an intrinsic value, it could be a gold, or it could be currency, it could be, or something that has a borrowed value, like something like a title deed of a property or security instruments and all that. Okay, so there are two kinds of threat in this. One is a deliberate threat, like by a burglar. Another is the threat from associated damages, like fire and other perils. Right. So these things have evolved in both ways. If I come to fire, for example, you get to see building fire protections have changed and phenomenally evolved. as the building construction, the size, the architecture, the way a building system is managed has changed dramatically. Similarly, for us, the product that protects our documents against fire, the technology is changing, and it is important that we provide and some solutions which are compatible to a building, because ultimately all our products get into a building. Similarly with burglary, as we have a changing need of building infrastructure, our products need to be fitting into it. So it is no longer a situation where you have a single story construction where the product goes in and it's remained static over there for years together, like the old age vaults and safes that we get to see in movies and other things. Today, it could also be living at top of the Burj Khalifa, and where we also have installations, right? And we cannot, in that situation, go and say, no, no, now we need to put something like a 5-ton product in order to secure 1 ton of gold. It's not like Burj Khalifa has something like that, but it is quite possible, right? So there we need to come out with innovative solutions, which is a combination of physical security as well as a digital footprints in that, which augments the real threat today. Today's burglar would never come and just with pickaxe and torches and just go and open it. They will be equipped with a mobile phone. They will be equipped with a GPS tracker. They will probably be also having a jammer, and they may also be cloning individual identities in order to gain access. So there are so many areas that or tools or methods that they can attack. We need to be protecting deploying technology to protect the valuables or the instruments from such kind of threats. One key element that is there is a security, a physical security or a safe storage product does not end with a robust structure. It's a misnomer that if it cannot be physically penetrated, it cannot be compromised. The most important thing that is evolving today is that what kind of locks are getting used in this kind of physical security or safe storage infrastructure. And that, in our opinion, is going to define the future, because nobody is going to take the trouble really to break open a vault or a safe. It is a bit alien. It is much easier to penetrate it in a smarter way. As I said, copy the key, that was the oldest one, or copy somebody's identity, get the fingerprint changed, or do something else, or jamming. So how do we remain abreast is also important in today's context. So it's, if I have to summarize, it means that we have to adapt to changing construction needs. We have to also adapt to the changing threat, because technology provides, both ways of protection as well as attack, and that spans across both physical and digital infrastructure or platform. Another thing that is important is, the modularity of the offerings, because today, as we all know, one-stop solutions are not no longer one size fits all is no longer what it is. People will come with different requirements in terms of sizes, in terms of weights, in terms of application, in terms of user profile, in terms of the nature of the business that they have. Even in everybody is looking at a cost and benefit. They will also see whether it is worth deploying that kind of a cost. Modularity provides an answer to all of this, and that is also our endeavor. How do we match the traditional technology of physical security, where we give really good products and we are masters globally and the oldest in this segment, where we give very strong ones where it cannot be penetrated, or let's say it will be very hard to penetrate. We never say it cannot. Everything can be actually breached in reality, but we will be the best in that, and it will also come with technology which is not suitable for breach with or which does not break with smart attacks. Of course, there's another thing that we need to also remember is that how the user differentiates. Because you see, this is a very blurry area. There has to be one or two tools for the user to differentiate or determine which is the right product for or offering for them. And that is where we very strongly advocate international certifications of the products, because these are claims. And in some markets, Gunnebo is itself like it's a privilege. And I wouldn't like to sound arrogant, that if we say that it meets the requirement, many customers globally actually take it as a certification. But I think in an evolving market like India, where I think certifications are important for customers to get an assurance that they know that there is a backup of an organization which says that the product is suitable for a certain application and meets some certain standards. And in India, we have the Bureau of Industrial Standards, which actually issues the standards and also certifies organizations and their products for the respective applications. We also have products which come from the European certified because we are a European company, and we also have a large assortment of products which are certified according to the UN standards, as well as the Underwriter Laboratories, which is the leading standard certification from the US, and again, one of the world's leading brands in certification. These are the three certification offerings that we have, and which also gives assurance to the product and the user about the efficacy and the appropriateness of the application of the products that we offer.
Do you think as we are getting more digitally connected, we are kind of neglecting or we are kind of not considering and overlooking the physical security infrastructure?
I wouldn't say that it is a complete overlooking of it, because with we have also got to understand, as far as the threat profile is concerned, it is also changing. As I said, it's becoming much more smarter, and things are happening at much shorter periods. We have legendary hastes, like, where we have these movies around, like people take weeks together to open a vault and breach a vault. Okay. And in today's world, most of the time, a threat would not be built up over where the burglar gets so much time for reaching it. At the same time, it also depends on what is getting protected. That's the key element. It's one thing, to protect 1,000 tons or 1,000 tons of gold. I mean, and this is real life stuff for us, because we have across the world, thousands of tons of golds protected with our solutions. And it could also be a small crystal or a diamond or a ruby. It's somebody's heirloom, which is kept at somebody's home. The two requires very different solutions in today's world. You can understand. So one will be very construction heavy. 1,000 tons of gold is too valuable to be just kept on, to be for someone to rely only on a digital infrastructure and not look at a physical infrastructure. That will come with a lot of physical structure around it. And again, according to the certification, according to the insurance rules, which is because the insurance, all such assets are actually insured. And the insurance company also needs to have some kind of a comfort that it is insurable, because nobody is going to insure unless the the individual or the owner takes adequate protection to it. So in such cases, the physical infrastructure matters equally as far as the digital one. The digital infrastructure in such a case will always go to augment the overall solution. Let's for say, for example, in the earlier days, we used to make these big vaults, which were kind of dumb. Everything was mechanical. Everything was mechanical. In today's world, we are possibly the only one which comes with an embedded solution where our vaults are also having circuitry inside them. Okay, and these are in modular fashions, which are built at site after or assembled at site after being supplied from the factories. And these circuitry can actually detect very early any attempt to a threat to the vault. So that's one example of how we marry the traditional technology with modern offerings. And then again, imagine what happens. The moment you are able to connect, I mean, the world opens, because then you also have a lock. And then we have the world which is connected anything and anywhere. I mean, we also see in real warfare, human beings don't matter. Now it is all drones. Right. It's similarly over here. You can connect and you can manage everything while you have a physical infrastructure which is very robust. So yes, it is always a balance between the physical construction as well as always adopting new technology that comes or which is available in order to enhance the physical infrastructure.
About the opportunities of management students, the MBA graduates in your sector?
See, we are an industry. We are an industry which needs to keep on changing. We need to keep on adapting to new threats, new ways of doing the same old thing, and that is where innovation is most important, and that is where we need a mix of both old and new uh, blood. And that's what it is. That is the beauty of an industry like ours, because we just can't consign the old offerings out of the window and then start everything with new. What we have to do is we have to marry new ideas, new offerings, new solutions into the old ones. And that is where we are always encouraging innovation and new talent. And we also have a talent induction program where we have management trainees which come in at a global level, at a local level, and some of them have risen right up to the top, to the senior management level over the years. And people are also have worked for a lifetime in an industry because it just grows into them. So when it comes to uh, somebody seeking a career in security or physical security or safe storage, it offers a good balance of both the physical side as well as the digital side. It offers I mean, it could also be how, like, let's say, an hackathon. Okay, what happens? It's somebody trying to simulate an attack. Okay, so that could also be a find an application in our industry, in the sense that somebody who can visualize how an attack can be, how somebody or a product could be a threat, we could also build a solution to that. So it provides vast opportunities, both in terms of offering solutions or designing solutions or visualizing solutions, as well as presenting it to the customer, which is important because it's very important to understand what a customer's needs are. And that comes from more from a market side. And it's which I always keep on saying, that do we understand what is the customer wanting? We may come with the best technology, but we may not be addressing the customer's need in that matter. And so that also equally requires us to understand that, well, this is something that we could possibly offer to solve a problem of the customer which that they are facing today. And again, this also is very very specific to some extent about the markets that one operates in or gets to see. like the different markets, as I said, US has different threats versus Europe and India and even China. And when I come to talk about different applications as well, uh, it could be gold, it could be ammunition, it could be cash, it could be documents, it could also be uh, drugs, cannabis. In many countries, it has to be kept in a secure storage. Because morphine is a drug which is controlled, and it also wherever it is stored, it has to be kept uh, at the same or even more security than gold. So you can also have protection for that, and we can also come with a solution towards it. So that is the span of opportunity in terms of both product development, innovation, uh, understanding customer needs, and as well as achieving automation or excellence in manufacturing.
Coming to the last segment, how organizations can stay ahead of evolving threats.
I think organizations would do well to engage with risk assessors. In this case, as I said, uh, the insurance companies play a very vital role in protecting from various kinds of risks, and assessment of the risks in a very structured way, and understanding the mitigating actions would be very important to remain abreast. At the same time, uh, it is not only about taking an insurance product. It is also about uh, you know the the other part of the reputational risk or the emotional value attached to a product or to an article. And there, I think it's important that the organizations pay attention not only to value, like let's say, like many at many places, like a piece of jewelry which is pledged is not only about the value that it is that it has. It is also the emotional value that the person who has pledged, who they attached to that item. So it is not enough that we insure it for an X value. We also need to put everything to make sure that it is protected, and the person who has pledged it is satisfied that yes, that is being done. And similar is the case because in many ways security is also outsourced, and security as a service is also coming in over there. So organizations should actually reevaluate from time to time the different offerings in the segment and actively consider or reconsider upgrading them. Because, as I said, it is a ever-changing threat, and something that has been decided or designed or implemented or agreed or as a standard operating procedure 15, 20, 30, 40 years back is no longer relevant today. And that is most important. And another way of remaining abreast is also to um, be uh, conversant, as I said earlier, with the various standards that are coming out globally, because these certification standards keep on getting updated with considering the modern threats and the modern solutions that can be provided.
Thank you so much, Sabyasachi, for joining
Yeah.
in today's session. We really hope this will be loved by the viewers, and we hope to stay connected with you and have you again in any of the future sessions by BSmart Business Standard. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you, Mr. Sengupta, for providing your rich insights on the topic. BSmart viewers, please share your queries and feedback at bsmart.edit@bsmil.in and follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram for more such insightful and inspiring content. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing.